students, we're now on to the last part of this experiment, and that is to isolate naphthalene as our neutral compound. So we're back to our test tube with the original mixture that was dissolved in ethyl acetate. And what I'm going to do to this is go ahead and wash it with some brine. So I'm going to add 1 milliliter of brine to my test tube, and we should get a 2-layer system here. Okay, let me go ahead and just cap my solution. And I'm going to stop her and invert a couple times to wash my organic layer here. And again, just so that folks will be reminded what's going on with brine here, is we're just simply washing away any ionic compounds that could have been mixed into the organic layer, and ensuring that, you know, we take out anything that could have been ionic from that organic layer. All right, I'm going to use my pipette here to remove that lower aqueous layer into my waste container here. And so let me attach my bulb to my pipette. Make sure I got all of everything from that meniscus down below. That looks pretty good. Everything coming up is clear. I'm going to check really quickly by lifting the pipette, or sorry, the test tube here. I have just a bit more, so give me just a moment. There we go. Okay, so I've got all of the aqueous layer out of my upper layer, and now that I have just organic compound in my upper layer, I'm going to go ahead and dry my organic layer with a little sodium sulfate. Okay, and so we should see, okay, yes, the solid is there. So we're going to let this dry for a few moments, and then we're going to go ahead and filter into our pre-weighed scintillation bottle.
Okay.
Okay, students, our last thing to do here is go ahead and get this into our filtered through our pipette. And so I'm going to go ahead and just go and lift all of this compound here. Okay.
Cool.
Alrighty. And it looks like the cotton was pretty far into the narrow end of the pipette there, so I'm going to go ahead and attach the bulb and help gently pressurize the liquid through to the other end. So let me just attach my bulb here and gently squeeze to help that liquid go through. And okay, let me go ahead and repeat, and hopefully we can make everything flow out of the end. Okay, looks pretty good. So this is our naphthalene solution. We're going to take our 3 solutions and evaporate the solvent and determine the mass of the solids. All right, students, next up we're going to go ahead and test our separation results by TLC. So here I have the small vial where we saved a sample of our unseparated compound. And so I'm going to go ahead and, on our TLC sample, we will use this as our original mixture. We have now our separated samples of benzoic acid, 4-methoxyaniline, and naphthalene. So I'm going to go ahead and create a spot for each sample. And I'm using a clean capillary tube for each sample because the point is we don't want to mix things now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do 2 applications per spot here. And let me go ahead and cap everything as I go along, just because we don't want to evaporate stuff just yet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and spot our benzoic acid. Okay, that was benzoic acid. We have now 4-methoxyaniline. Okay, and last but not least, we have the naphthalene. Okay, our TLC chamber will be pure ethyl acetate, and I will get the TLC plate into the chamber right now. And so our TLC chamber here has a mixture of hexanes and ethyl acetate in a 3 to 0.5 ratio. So for every 3 milliliters of hexanes, 0.5 milliliters of ethyl acetate has been added. All right, let's go ahead and get our TLC plate into the chamber, and we're gonna let the solvent, run up the TLC plate so that we can analyze our results. We'll be back as soon as the TLC plate reaches the solvent front. Okay, students, so we are back. We have gotten our plate, the liquid to come all the way up to the line which we made for our plate, and so I'm going to go ahead and take it out to dry, and go ahead and close up my chamber here. Our next job is to visualize our spots here using some UV light, but we are going to wait for the TLC plate to completely dry to be able to do that. Okay, students, so we have the TLC plate, and I'm going to ask Leah to bring in the camera so you can see what's going on down here. And so I'm going to go ahead and hold my TLC plate and point out some goodies. So all the way to the left here, we have the original mixtures, and if you see, I'm going to go ahead and circle them, but we have a spot here, another spot that it's kind of encroaching, but it's right up there. And then our last spot is way, way up here. Okay, and based on the polarity of the compounds, you'll be able to tell me which spot belongs to which. All right, and in our first lane, if you notice, we have the spot that's up here. Okay, in lane 2, we have an obvious spot down here. And the very last one, if you notice, we do have a slight spotting, but they're extremely faint in comparison to the major compound, which is this one